Hello everyone, my name is Olivia and welcome to a new video where I tell you about a couple of movies and TV shows that I have recently watched at the beginning of the year that I would highly recommend. I actually have not seen a lot of movies and TV shows this year. Last year I watched over 100 movies because I did my great Marvel rewatch, so that really contributed to those numbers, but this year I think I've only seen about 20 movies so far and we are in April currently. So first, let's get into the movies that I've recently seen that I would highly recommend. The first movie that I want to mention is called The Ritual. This is on Netflix and it's a horror movie that I recently saw with two of my best friends, and it was absolutely phenomenal. I've seen a lot of people on TikTok talk about it and talk about how it is one of the scariest movies that they've seen, how it made them afraid of the woods, and I'm already afraid of the woods, so that was perfectly fine with me. And on Letterboxd, it says it follows a group of college friends who reunite for a trip to the forest, but encounter a menacing presence in the woods that's stalking them. So we follow a group of men who are old friends and they are reuniting after tragedy and they are trying to move on from their past and kind of move forward with their friendship, and they decide to do that by hiking and going on a trip together. They are hiking together when they want to get back to their car very quickly, and they decide to go through the woods because it seems as if it would be a shortcut. The best way that I described The Ritual in my Letterboxd review was Midsummer meets The Blair Witch Project. It is a mixture of both of those movies and amplifies their strengths and puts them together in this film that is completely mind-boggling, will leave you on the edge of your seat, and will leave you wondering what is going to happen next at all times. I had a great time with it. I know a lot of people are very mixed on it. I feel like a lot of my friends have 3-star reviews for it, but I just could not stop thinking about the movie, so I gave it 4 stars. I thought the acting was great. I thought the visual effects were amazing. I thought the tension that was brewing throughout the whole entire film was very consistent, constantly gaining in strength, and I just thought it was a perfect movie if you're into horror, but you aren't into like demons and people being possessed. If you're into this psychological horror where you're watching a group of people get slowly closer to this final moment that is going to ruin their lives forever. Cannot recommend it enough. I thought it was amazing, underrated, and I don't see a lot of people talking about it, and I am so glad I listened to people recommending it on TikTok, because if they had not recommended it, I would have never seen it because I've never heard of it before. The next movie that I want to talk about is The Batman. The Batman completely blew me away and blew away all my expectations. I'm sure I'm speaking to a brick wall in terms of talking about The Batman because I feel like every single person who has seen it has greatly enjoyed it, but if you have not seen The Batman before, it is just such a unique, very fresh take on the Batman. It feels like a film noir in a way because it has a centralized mystery. It is very dark in its tone and in its aesthetic, and I think that Robert Pattinson's Batman is one of the most authentic Batmans that we have seen, because I really do appreciate Christian Bale as Batman, and The Dark Knight is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's in my top 5 of all time, but I think that Christian Bale's Batman feels very much like an American Psycho-esque Batman. He's very stoic, he's very arrogant, he's always showing off his wealth, and he has a very pompous type of attitude. Meanwhile, we have Robert Pattinson, who's moody, he doesn't really know how to make friends, he's very alone, he's isolated, he doesn't care about money, and I feel like that's the essence of what Batman can be. And I'm just so excited that they explored his character in that direction, because I feel like we have always played with the playboy type of attitude that Batman can have, and I think that Robert Pattinson's moody, very teenagery like character was just so fresh and new, and I loved it so much. Yes, it is a 3-hour movie. Yes, people can say it drags, but I was thoroughly engaged throughout the whole entire film. From the start to the end, I thought it was fantastic. I thought Selena Kyle was also an amazing character. I think that Zoe Kravitz really brought her to life, and she just embodied her so beautifully, and I also really enjoyed the different villains that we explored, and it was just such a well-rounded movie. I just thought it was fantastic. It's definitely a movie that I'm eager to watch over and over again because I feel like I can always notice something new about it, but I just thought that this was absolutely amazing. It really took me by surprise, and I'm just so excited to see it again and again. The next movie that I have to talk about, I have not stopped talking about on my Instagram, on my Twitter, and in real life, and it is Fresh. Fresh stars Sebastian Stan and Daisy Edgar Jones in a very contemporary comedy horror type of movie. We follow our main character Noah, who is tired of the online dating world. She is tired of apps and just creepy men and annoying men, and one day she organically meets Steve in the grocery store and they spark up a relationship. That relationship is all-consuming and incredibly fast, and eventually after like 3 dates they go on a weekend vacation together, and that is when Noah realizes that Steve is nothing like what he appeared to be. Fresh is one of my new favorite horror movies of all time. I just cannot stop thinking about it. I thought it really captured the essence of the horrors of modern dating while also playing with the comedic side of horror. I just thought it was so well done. I thought that Sebastian Stan really embodied this unhinged role of Steve, and Noah, who was played by Daisy Edgar Jones, was just such a phenomenal character because she was so headstrong, she was so determined, and I just think that their chemistry was off the charts. They just really played well together on the screen. I thought the set design was absolutely beautiful, and I just thought the story was really fun. You just have to really have fun with this story. You cannot go into this movie, or any horror movie to be honest, you can't go into horror movies thinking you're going to see the next great American movie. You're going into a horror movie for fun. You're going into a horror movie for anxiety-inducing elements, and I thought that it had all those things that I loved in a horror movie. It made me scream out loud out of shock. It made me laugh. It made me fall in love with Sebastian Stan in the worst way possible, and I just cannot stop thinking about Fresh. I thought the music choices were amazing. I thought the whole entire storyline was just completely outlandish and also just completely fun. I have a full review for Fresh over on my Instagram, which I will link down below. I thought the photo that I took for it was really fun, so I definitely want you to check it out, and I also really want you to check out Fresh. And if you do, please leave your thoughts down below because I would love to discuss. The next movie that I saw was the Olivia Rodrigo documentary called Driving Home to You. This is a really fun documentary if you are a fan of Olivia Rodrigo and her album Sour. It is a documentary slash a bunch of different music videos as she is traveling from Salt Lake City to LA. So we follow her along her journey. She talks about the journey of her album from the first song that she wrote to the last song that she wrote for the album. And through those conversations, every once in a while we stop to listen to her sing a song from the album. So we listened to it in order from how she wrote it, and I just thought that it was the perfect documentary. It was so beautifully filmed. The director just really captured the essence and the aesthetic that Olivia Rodrigo has created for her brand and for herself. I thought that it was just so visually stunning. I thought the sound was amazing, and you can really tell how much Olivia Rodrigo has grown as an artist because her voice sounds so much stronger. She sounds so much more confident, and it was also just really nice to see the behind the scenes of how she created the songs and how she developed certain lyrics and how she was inspired by different things in her life to create all these different songs. I thought it was so authentic. It was so real. It's just the perfect documentary for fans of Olivia Rodrigo. I think that a lot of artists can definitely get inspired by this type of documentary style where they break down the album and split it up, where they perform the songs from the album, because it gives people the opportunity to feel like they went to an Olivia Rodrigo concert if they are unable to, if they are international, if they didn't get the tickets, and I didn't get the tickets, so I feel like I went to an Olivia Rodrigo concert, and it's definitely a documentary that you can just like play in the background. I loved that documentary. I can definitely watch it over and over again because I just love that album so much. Now let's move on to TV shows. I haven't seen a lot of TV shows this year. I just have not been in the mood to commit myself to TV shows, so I only have 3 to talk about, and the first one is All of Us Are Dead, which is on Netflix. This is a K-horror following a group of students who have to survive in their high school during a zombie apocalypse. This is my first ever K-horror, and I just had so much fun with it. I think if you're just looking for something intense and bingeable, then you would love All of Us Are Dead because I just could not stop watching that. I thought it was so entertaining. There were so many twists and turns and so many characters to explore, and it really explored the emotional effects of a zombie apocalypse and losing your classmates, losing your family members, and just trying to survive at all costs, while also having some drama from like crushes in high school, bullies in high school, dealing with an annoying principal and teacher. I think it combines all those elements to create a really fun, really fresh type of of zombie apocalypse show. It's definitely not my favorite show plot-wise because there were certain characters and certain elements that were incredibly frustrating, and the only thing that I truly did not enjoy and I thought just really took me out of the story was the fact that whenever people would get bitten by zombies, they wouldn't yell, "The zombie's biting me here, the zombie's biting me," and they're like, "Go on without me. Leave me." You're being bitten. Your flesh is being torn off of your body. You would not be speaking at such a calm tone. I feel like that's the one thing that they missed for this show. Besides the writing that could have been a little bit stronger, I think that that element just really took me out of the story because I'm so used to watching The Walking Dead where people get bitten and they're screaming at the top of their lungs because it's incredibly painful to have your skin fall off because a zombie's biting you. There were so many fresh and new elements of the zombie apocalypse that they explored. Some of them were ridiculous, some of them I didn't really like, but it was just a solid show that I had fun with, and I didn't feel like I wasted my time seeing all of it. The next show I have not finished yet because it's still currently airing, and it is Moon Knight. Moon Knight is one of my most anticipated Marvel shows because it stars my favorite person in the world, Oscar Isaac. Moon Knight follows our main character, Steven, who works at a gift shop and an Egyptian museum when he finds out that he's starting to black out and not remember certain parts of his life, and he realizes that he has dissociative identity disorder, and he shares his body with a man named Mark, who is a mercenary. Moon Knight is just one of my new favorite Marvel shows, and I'm probably heavily biased because I'm just completely in love with Oscar Isaac, and anything he creates I think is a masterpiece. That may be the case, but I just genuinely think that Moon Knight is for the Egyptology girlies. I think if you are a fan of Indiana Jones, you're going to love Moon Knight because it is full of mystery, it's full of adventure, it has so many different plot twists, and we still have 2 more episodes left when I'm filming this video, so I'm eagerly anticipating to see how the show is going to end. But I just think it is so fun, it's so different from other Marvel shows and other Marvel movies in general, and I just cannot wait to see this world get expanded. I cannot wait to see Mark interact with other Marvel heroes eventually. I just think it's so fun, it's so new. It just really captures my heart as an Indiana Jones fan who grew up watching those movies, and also the fact that Oscar Isaac is really showing off his range in this because he's playing 2 different characters. So the mannerisms, the way that he carries himself, the way that he even talks and just looks at other people is so distinct and so well done that I just can't help but commend him for this role because I feel like it's really showing off his ability to act. I think it's showing off the very different characters that he can play because Mark is a very serious character and Steven is like a cinnamon roll who I would die for. And I also had to talk about Layla. Layla is one of my new favorite Marvel characters of all time. I just think that she is so strong, beautiful, intelligent. She is just like a Marvel dream girl. I am obsessed with her. I hope we get to see her more in the future. I just cannot wait to see how the show is going to wrap up. I'm so sad that it's only 6 episodes. I wish we had like so many more episodes of it, but I'm hoping that we can eventually get a season 2. But I cannot recommend Moon Knight enough. I think it's so fun. I think it is so entertaining, and you don't really have to know anything about other Marvel movies in order to watch this show because so far it's very isolated in the universe. I feel like if you just want to dip your toes into Marvel, you can definitely just watch this show and have a lot of fun with it, and I love it. It's so good. I love it. The last show that I want to talk about is season 4 of The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel is one of my favorite shows of all time. The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel follows our main character, Mrs. Maisel, who has a dream of becoming a comedy star during the 1950s. So we navigate her life, her broken marriage, her quirky family, and in season 4 we are following Midge as she is gaining confidence in her career. Her career has definitely had some roadblocks, and she's definitely going down a path that she never thought that she would go down, but she's really embracing it and trying to make a name for herself in a very non-traditional way in the 50s as a comedian. I think that this season is the weakest in all the seasons in The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. I think that it's very messy in its writing. I think some of the characters act out of character, and I don't really know what direction they're trying to go in for all these characters with all their development. I don't really know what path they are leading us down, but I think that The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel is just so fun because the costumes are beautiful to look at. The dialogue is always top notch, so fun, so hilarious, and so relatable because it really captures the essence of having a very quirky family. It captures the essence of Midge's snappy attitude and quick comedic timing, and I just had so much fun with all these characters. I had so much fun returning to the world, and I'm definitely excited for the last season that they are currently filming, and I'm excited that they're finally going to wrap it up. But I do think that season 4 was their weakest season. I think that it was a bit convoluted, but I feel like the end really makes it up because it gives you all those moments that you've been aching for since season 1, and I'm just so excited for season 5 because it just ended on the right note. It was very abrupt and it was very sudden, and I feel like we were missing an episode, but I think that that's what they want. They want you to eagerly anticipate season 5 because I think season 5 is going to be explosive. There are going to be so many changes that these characters are going through because they had so many of those transitional moments in this season. So while it was messy, while it was a bit convoluted, I feel like it's definitely leading us to this final act that's going to be amazing and everything we want and more. So I just love that show so much. It's one of my favorite shows of all time, so I would highly recommend it. It's on Amazon Prime. I think it has so much heart and is just such a beautiful show, and it's definitely just a fun time. So let me know what you have currently been watching and what you would highly recommend for me, and let me know if you have seen any of these shows or movies and what you thought about them. Be sure to follow me over on Letterboxd to get movie reviews from me, although don't take them too seriously because I'm definitely a troll on that app, but I also am starting to do movie and show reviews over on my Instagram, so I'll be sure to link all my social media links down below if you want to follow me anywhere else. And if you want to see more movie and TV content from me in the future, be sure to let me know and give me some ideas if you have some video ideas that you want me to touch upon in terms of movies and TV, because I would love to make that in the future. Thank you so much for sticking around for this long in my video. If you have made it this far, comment down a TV emoji to see who stays for the longest in all my videos. And if you do, I appreciate you so much and thank you for all your support, your likes, your comments, and you just watching my videos. So I will see you in another video very soon. Bye!